Everybody, it's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Thank you guys so much for being here today on A Glitch in the Matrix. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. And Barry and I I've got Barry Littleton here, y'all, today for the show. And I hope you guys have been following all this Greenland UFO stuff. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today on the show, the Greenland crashed UFO Mothership. Basically, it's making the rounds all over social media right now. And Barry gave me a couple of targets on this, remote viewing targets. And we're going to go over those today. I don't even know exactly what the exact target prompts were. So we're going to find out when Barry comes up today. And we're going to make a lot of connections today to this alleged giant UFO that's crashed in Greenland. And maybe those Easter Island statues. Okay. There might be some connection to that. And we're going to get into also why the United States wants to buy Greenland so badly. And I think I might know why at this point. But we're gonna, I think it's a multifaceted topic, okay, and subject. And so, like I said, we're going to get into that today. Some people have been talking about this for decades. And for whatever reason, it is in the news right now. And so, yes, I've had a couple of people reach out and say, Jessica, have you remote viewed the Greenland UFO? And I was like, no, I don't even know what it is. Well, guess what? Today we have it. I know this is not my normal remote viewing show, but we've decided it's such an interesting topic. We're going to go ahead and cover that today. I have put the remote viewing data on my Patreon. And yes, we will be having another show tomorrow night. I have Greg Ogles coming on tomorrow night with The Vanished, his new documentary. He and I have done a good bit of boots on the ground research together out in the field. He comes to the meadow with us. And so he's going to be on the show with us tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So y'all come back and see us then live. Okay. But today we're covering this. All right. So buckle up, guys. We're in for another rabbit hole dive today. And so I guess if you guys would like to follow along with all my shows and stuff, I have archived all my shows over on my website, and all my social media links are over there. If you guys want to go check that out, check out thecryptidhuntress.com. And that's where you can find me over there on my website. Of course, I am also broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. I'm on X. I'm on Rumble. I have a Rumble channel as well. Y'all come follow me. And you can also find me on all the podcasting platforms. Just look up the Cryptid Huntress. And I try to keep those up to date. As soon as I have a show, I try to upload it on podcast platforms. Okay. So yeah. So thank you guys so much for all your support. My goodness, about a week ago today, I made a short video. And it went viral. We're about to hit 2.2 million views on that, y'all. Isn't that wild? And of course, Barry Littleton was a big part of that video. And we're going to talk about that just for a second today. And it's just tickled me to death, y'all, on Instagram and TikTok, that is. And so y'all go check out my Instagram and my TikTok. It's a lot of fun over there. Okay. But yeah, if you guys would like to check out that data, of course, my Patreon is thecryptidhuntress.com on Patreon, or not .com, but you know what I mean. Just look up this right here. It's on the screen. And of course I do have a shop on Etsy called War Woman Goods. Okay. But all my data is over there, over on my Patreon. Okay. All right. Well, let's get into it, y'all. Greenland has a long history of documented UFOs and strange anomalies. An alleged crash UFO has been reported to be frozen deep under the ice in Greenland, and it's emerging from the Arctic Permafrost as we speak. In a decades-old video of a presentation given by David Wynn Miller, he reveals that there is a massive spacecraft emerging from the ice in Greenland after the ice around the North Pole melts. Okay, that was actually, I don't remember when that video was put out. It's kind of a grainy video, but he has since passed away. I think he died back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. But we're going to get into what he said today and what his predictions were, because they're actually coming true today. All right. But some believe the current UFO sightings are correlated with deposits of rare earth minerals and uranium over in Greenland. With its strategic location and immense natural resources, Greenland has long been at the center of geopolitical conflict. The U.S. has had interest in obtaining Greenland since at least 1867, and the current president has made it no secret that that idea is still on the table. He's planning on buying up that thing, y'all. He's going to take it. But today, of course, we have Barry Littleton here, and we're going to discuss this alleged UFO. We're going to get into all the dots that we're going to connect today. And like I said, I have 2 targets, and Barry's going to tell us what those targets are in just a minute. And so before I bring Barry up, if you guys want to hear more about this, let's see if I've got some information. Maybe I'll just bring Barry on up. How about that? And let me go ahead and bring Barry up, and then we'll get into the data. How about that? So if you guys want to follow Barry, please go over to his YouTube channel and his Patreon. It is Barry Littleton. Just type it in a search engine. You'll find Barry. Please help me welcome to the show our good friend, Mr. Barry Littleton. Hey, Barry.
Ooh, what's happening, Jessica? What's going on? Oh, man. Wow. Well, thanks for having me back on. And I want to begin by breaking the ice by saying something immediately. That was really a trip, that whole viral thing that clip you put on. And I want everybody to know, okay, and I mentioned this on my live as really we've been joking around before that show. And, I always tease you sometimes anyway. But during that time when I was doing, because I didn't think you could see me at all. I didn't think that the audience could see me either. And what I was doing was I was reproducing, I was reenacting a scene and I mentioned it before, it's the original Airplane with Stryker, and the dude that played Stryker, and he's talking to people on the airplane telling his story, like he's going back to the disco and all this stuff. And when he starts telling his story, people start rolling their eyes and going like, oh, going like that and stuff. And then when it comes back, they'll like be hanging from the rafters and stuff. We're doing some type of self-termination. And I was doing that. I was going like this and stuff because the dark and gloom thing. So I was really just teasing you and reenacting that. And I was just having fun. But that clip made it look like I was getting all irritated with you and I was mad. I was going, oh, when you were saying all that stuff, it wasn't like that at all. And they never saw it. Probably the clip when I was going like this and stuff like that.
I saw that. Oh gosh, Barry, that's actually why I made those shorts, because it was so hilarious, because I had not seen it when I was reading my computer screen. And when I went back and watched it, I was dying laughing. It was hilarious. And so that's why I made those shorts. And sure enough, it's about to hit 2.2 million views, man. That's crazy. It's absolutely wild. And so I thought it was funny.
Yeah, so. It was meant like that. I was just joking around. I'm goofy like that. You know what I mean? Kind of corny like that. And I didn't think nobody could really see it, so I was just messing around. You know what I mean? That's all. like kind of like with Young Guns. What the guy that played Reese? What's his name? Michael Bead. He said, "I'm just messing about." I'm just messing about.
Just messing around. Oh my gosh. Well, that's fun, Barry. We do have fun. I think people can see that. We do have a lot of fun.
A lot of people on the clips, I'd noticed when I looked at some of the comments, I was blown away by all that. But a lot of people never actually went back and watched the video. They would have saw that really I talked about the equation that is natural science of gravity and mass, and how the Earth wouldn't have had any mass, and how that's an impossibility and all the other things. But no one saw anything but those clips.
I know, right? I mean, that's how social media works, Barry. It's like there's a clip. True. People are actually. I didn't read a whole lot of the comments. There were just a lot of them, like tens of thousands of comments. So, but it was like some people believe that we believed that, like we thought that this, but I was just reading an article. So it is what it is. It's just little tiny pieces that are all taken out of context. It's all in good fun. Who cares? Honestly,
You know, I had people from my hometown. I had my people from my hometown sending me messages. And then I saw this on Instagram. Another cat saying, "Hey man, I thought I recognized you, man. You're the cat that comes down and sits at the bar sometimes when my brother plays jazz." You know, I go down there and listen to the gigs, man. I was like, wow, okay.
Random people. They're like, I know that guy.
But it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
But today will be fun, definitely. If anybody ever wanted to see us do a show that is last minute, immediate, this is one. I think it's a really good one. I think the information that we can go over doing this is going to be really good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Informative, to say the least.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Well, this is, well, you had actually asked me about it, and I've had a whole lot of people being like, "Hey, are you going to cover this Greenland UFO?" And I was like, I wanted to cover it, but I just had not gotten it as a remote viewing target. And I knew that I have tomorrow night, I have Greg Ogle's scheduled for the show. So we're going to be talking about something different. And I thought, well, if we're going to cover, let's just cover it today, since she gave me those targets and stuff. And so we're going to do it. Okay. We're doing it. I like that star you got right there. What is that?
Oh, thanks. You know, they call it a starburst. But if you take these and make 3 of these, if there were to be lights inside, illumination, it looks similar to that tripyramidal Merkabah that I saw. I've showed before with the rods out of it. Yeah, so I just like it. It's something I caught at one of these stores, and I actually did a video with it a while ago, but they're just cool to handle. It brings me some type of odd pleasure. You know what I mean? Experience or contactee pleasure. So check this out. So you kind of described everybody about what this is, right? About the UFO, and you kind of described that to everybody.
Oh yeah. Oh, do you want me to describe it now?
I thought you did already. No, that's what I want to go forward from that to make sure you get all that everything.
Okay. Well, let me get my notes here. Okay, because I have some brief, like I have a little rundown of what was said about this, and honestly, there was someone who predicted all of this decades ago, Barry. Okay, and that's actually what's kind of gone viral all over social media, and it was a presentation that a man named David Wynn Miller gave, and of course I have a picture right here of him. I've actually got a TikTok pulled up that we can play. I just don't want to get copyright.
With the piece.
This guy.
The guy with the piece. That's a hairpiece, right?
I don't know.
Come on now. That or he's Bo from the Three Stooges.
Good hair.
Anyway, go ahead.
Hey, listen, my dad has a thick head of hair like that, and he's in his 70s. And my dad's got real hair. Okay. I think it's from all those years of having a mullet. It kept his hair thick, I guess. I don't know. Love you, Dad. I don't think my dad watches my shows, so it's okay. So anyways, that guy kind of has a mullet, actually, but shout out to mullets. Love them. Okay. But David Wynn Miller, now he was actually, I forgot what his original job was. Okay. Like what he was known for, other than being a linguistic architect is what he was called. A linguistic architect. Never heard of that. But he was actually, I guess he was doing what they call quantum grammar, Barry. Have you heard of quantum grammar?
I've heard some of these quantum languages, but there's so much quantum everything now. If you want to really sound heavy and you want to be in, you got to throw that in front of whatever you're saying. Quantum tunneling, quantum entanglement, quantum irritation.
We're quantumly cool. We may not be cool here, but we're cool in the quantum.
Because that makes it infinite. You understand?
Ooh, we're infinitely cool in the quantum. Yeah. But total dorks here on screen. Okay. But okay. So he's into quantum grammar. Now this is something that it was almost like, okay. So he was like I don't want to say like a sovereign citizen or something. I don't know if that's like the term that you would use, but he was anti-government control, basically. Okay. This fella, and who can blame him? Okay. But it says the quantum grammar would bypass government control. These are just some notes that I took, right, from listening to what he was saying. And so he was talking about this like quantum grammar stuff. He was actually given a lecture on that. is in this video that's going around. But within this conversation he was having, or this lecture he was giving, he started claiming about there being a giant UFO that had for centuries been, buried underneath the ice in Greenland. He said, now it was really interesting because he said, like, here's some of the stats on it. He said it's 300 miles long. It's 2 miles tall and 55 miles wide is what he said. And so he said it's basically a massive alien mothership that would be exposed because of the ice caps melting at the North Pole. He said at this point, the North Pole is melted. And so now all these things are being revealed. And it's almost like the ship is alive. Okay. Which is wild. But let's see. What else did he say here? So he was actually saying that it was a ship that belonged to the Moai people, and he was saying also that the Moai people are actually who the Moai, who I did a remote viewing target of that you gave me with the robot mushrooms, the robotic mushroom skins. He said that that's who that is. Those are representations of what they look like. Okay, that's them. And so there's a connection to the Greenland and then Easter Island. All right. So, and the Great Pyramid, there's all these pyramids and stuff. I mean, it's just really wild, the rabbit hole to go down with this topic right here. But he said it's basically dormant technology, and it's a big weather machine is what he was saying. It can control the weather. And I don't know, some of that ancient alien tech, Barry. And I don't know, you might have some more information on this than I do, but that's it in a nutshell right there. What you think?
Good job, my friend.
Yeah.
Honestly, you took it a step further because I didn't hear him mention that when he said Moai's people. I saw it spelled Moyes, so I didn't think they were talking about the actual Moai on Easter Island. So that does take us down even another rabbit hole. That's really good. So good job on that.
It does.
Okay. First, thanks for having me on and doing the topic, and hello to everybody in your chat and everything. Something I want to kind of address first is because, sometimes I think people may accuse of you like not dealing with any science when a lot of your data and a lot of your techniques are based on science. If people listen to what you say, but also the work you and I do together has got a lot of science involved. If people will listen at the beginning when we start, normally we'll address some of that. Not that you're into it all. Not that I buy everything you say either, but there's a place where we meet, and some science gives us something at least to deal with in terms of a foundation and basis. So, excuse me, let me throw in something that has to do with this whole situation of Greenland and why I wanted to give that to you as a blind target too, and how it kind of is just in a way we could, I guess, tie it into this. I just think it's important, okay? Okay. And this is something that is called the younger Dryas impact hypothesis. And that's really done and put together mostly by Randall Carlson. Okay. And I had the honor, I was into a lot of his information anyway. And I met him in person at the Stairway to the Stars conference in Vegas, but almost 2 years ago now.
That was a big one.
We sat and talked for almost an hour at a table there. Fascinating man. And anyway, that hypothesis and what it is, it involves three major impacts that happened 9,800 years ago. Okay. And one of these impacts, you have one that was in Lake Ontario, one in Saginaw Bay, but another one that was the major one that was on what was called the Greenland ice shelf or Greenland ice sheet. Okay. And that thing came in here and hit, and they've actually found this crater now. That's why I was talking to Randall. I said, congratulations. You've been talking about that a long time. It's not just a hypothesis. It's becoming more than that. They found that, so often we hear, what is it that caused and finished? This is the end of the ice age he's talking about, but the beginning and end we wind up talking about. But, people say, where's the crater? And they're starting to find these craters. Anyway, so this crater in the Greenland ice shelf, and what I want to do is here, since I have the ability to do this now in my weird way, just here. Let's hold on.
I just put up the map on the world map as to where Greenland is exactly, just in case people were wondering. I just wanted to give a quick little flash on the screen for that. Okay. Not everybody knows our maps, including myself.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to share something here too, because this is also called the Hiawatha Crater too. Okay, that's what it's more known as. So let me share that just so people have an understanding. So it's not just Barry talking this weird stuff. This is stuff that people can look up for themselves. Okay,
great.
And this is where.
Real quick, I wanted to say thank you to Terry before we go on. Terry Brown, thank you so much. Once again, my two favorite people. We love you too, Terry. Thank you so much. Okay, we're adding this. Oh, wow. Wonderful, Barry. Thank you, Terry.
Oh, thanks for putting that up. Okay,
the Hiawatha Crater.
So here's the thing, Jessica, right? So this came in, it was 1.6 miles thick and 2 miles wide. Okay, and the crater is 2 miles deep and 15 miles wide. Okay, so this was huge. And when this thing came in and impacted, mind you, that it came in at about around 3,500 degrees. And when it impacted that ice shelf, it sent up these huge chunks of ice, okay, into our atmosphere, these heated ice fragments that landed and caused other catastrophic deals. Like, for example, as Randall points out too, one of these would be the Carolina Bays. That's not from actual meteor impact. That's from these chunks of ice that went up into our atmosphere and came back down and impacted. And another one that's in Nebraska, the Nebraska Rainwater Basin, he says, is also one of these examples of these chunks of ice that came back down. And these were a part of the Taurid meteor swarm that actually comes from the Pleiades, and it circles through here every now and again. Wow. And you know, when I met him in person, he extended on this just 3 impact thesis that hypothesis I'm talking about right now. Jessica, he said during about a 21-year period or 1,000-year period, there were like 21 major strikes, he said, from this Taurid meteor swarm. So I think that's just really, really worthy of looking at. So I didn't do, look, your audience is much more genius than I, so they can try to see and measure up on the map where this actual Hiawatha crater, is compared to the proximity of where this Greenland UFO is supposed to be. I'm just curious, and it's something worthy of investigation. Sorry, I'll stop sharing. I'll stop babbling.
No.
But I think that's something just to throw in, because it's dealing with Greenland in generally, you know, and a lot of things we've heard about the high UFO activity there and things like that for years. I've heard about Greenland, but now people focus on Antarctica. We haven't been talking about Greenland. It's come up now, but anyway, just I wanted to throw in the thing with Randall Carson and just to make some point. Now I have a question for you too.
Okay.
I know you remote viewed twice the Space Mona Lisa, but also your team did the ship that's crashed in the crater in the moon, supposedly. Now,
yes.
were the dimensions and size of that thing anywhere similar to this Greenland thing?
It was over a mile long. I do remember that. It's been a long time because I've been remote viewing since 2011 or 2012, and it was one of my first practice targets. Actually, was that. And I mean, it was within the first year of me learning remote viewing. So it's been a long time. But I do recall, and I do have a folder of all of my targets, by the way, from when I was learning it and doing it with my team. And it was at least a mile long, at least. And we did determine that is real. It's a real ship. And yes, it was on the moon. And the dark side of the moon in a crater. Yeah. Yeah.
And was it miles in length or size?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. In length. Yeah. In length. It was over a mile long. Like, it was huge. And that's like a crash one on a crater on the backside, the dark side of the moon. It's 100% a probability that whatever's in Greenland could be a mile long ship, or what they say, 2 miles. 2 miles tall.
You know, there's something else I'll just throw in there too. and I'll probably put up a picture of this later. And it's something that was brought up that those when dealing with the information from Norman Bergen, the ring makers of Saturn. All right, everybody, a lot of people are familiar with that because they got really well known because with that interview with Cassidy, he talked about that there's a ship that came down into a naval yard and these tall brothers got off, these giant brothers got off of it. And they were black. He's like he's tripped out and stuff, you know. So that talking about something went viral. That definitely went viral. But a lot of people just take notice of that and didn't actually read the book. I got kind of guided to that when I was still in late elementary, but I couldn't understand all the telemetry. Okay. But what he's really saying is that in the rings themselves are either being produced, they're these huge ships that are miles and miles. He said something like thousands of miles long that are either producing or mining the rings. Okay. And, it takes us into little things like this here. And I'm going to share this with you too. All right. And this is just concept. All right. I have an interest in other contactees and what they say about Legion ships, because during my experiences, I've had motherships and Legion ships described to me. I've seen something very, very bizarre. Okay. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I want to just bring this up as concept. All right.
Okay. Moon at Noon, thank you for that super sticker. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for your support.
This is something that I generally really laughed at always, okay? Because of the name is so corny and the fact they're just these perfect, Kevin Sorbo type of beings. These perfect, these perfect Fabio beings. Look at them down there. Not a black person in that crew down there. Anyway, never mind that. This is the Ashtar command, okay, folks. Whatever. I always make fun of it, but in seriousness, some of the representation they have of these Legion ships, I think is somewhat accurate, and that's what this is supposed to be right here. Okay. So taking the joke out of it and anyway, taking the joke out of it when dealing with the concept of some of these super large ships that might be formed similar to that. Okay. And when dealing with the concept of what you've remote viewed and seen, I think it's worthy. What would a type of a starship be like for other civilizations and things? So I'm not saying this is totally accurate, but it's good, as I like to say, food for thought. I've got one more I'll show too.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, it's hard to wrap the especially normies, but me too, all of us. It's hard to wrap our heads around a ship being 3 miles long, or what they say, 300 miles long. 300 miles long? Good grief. That just doesn't make a lot of sense in our human thinking brains, right? But that's what they're saying. That's what that man, the what's his name? David Wynn Miller. That's what he said. So interesting stuff here. And the fact that it may have a connection to the Moai or the Moai.
Yeah, that sorry, I was trying to there it is. And like I said, this is not, I can't, this isn't my stuff right here, but it's just interesting. It's just stuff that caught my attention. This has been, 14 years, 12 years ago by now. That's just another one of their little galactic things, but they give several specifications for very large Legion ships and motherships that are somewhat similar. And, when I start taking this and comparing it to some of the detailed descriptions of these SSP ships, I see many similarities for whatever reasons I can't say, but it is what it is, right? Food for thought. Anyway, I just want to bring that into there, along with the thing with Randall Carlson and the end of especially the end of the Ice Age, and those impacted the Greenland ice shelf. And you can imagine what else might have impacted with that ice that went up and came down immediately close to there, let alone the other side of the globe and things that created these other natural catastrophic events.
Whoa.
Throwing in there the weather engineering deal.
Yeah. weather maker.
I mean, I got really into weather engineering. It was Trevor Constable. He did a lot of weather engineering, and you'd be surprised how much of that they're doing now is based on his simplistic Reich assessments of cloud busters and other orgone generators he was making and stuff. But he did a lot of things that was dealing with controlling the weather. And I just don't know, why they would need a ship of that size to do it. Now with equipment that we have currently, it can be done with something very small apparatus. Why would they need something that size to control the weather here? That just seems a little far-fetched to me, but doesn't mean it's not true. I just,
Well, there's they already have devices and technology that controls the weather, allegedly. Actually, it's not alleged because there's all sorts of patents that have come out and stuff. We know they're doing that. Listen, the South is preparing for a major ice storm this weekend. And so if you live anywhere from Texas all the way down over to South Carolina and north, prepare, y'all. Please prepare. Please don't go anywhere. I actually have plans to go out of town this weekend. I am just pretty much going to have to cancel my plans because they're talking about like 1 to 5 inches of ice and all this snow, and it's going to be devastating. And I got stuck in the 2014 ice storm in Atlanta. Never again will I ever do that. Okay. To be unprepared for that and be in my car when the road's ice over. So please prepare, y'all. And it makes me wonder, like, if they can control the weather, why is there like this? Why don't they stop this? Stop it. You know what I mean? Like, is it just for bad? Are they just using weather manipulation for bad at this point? I don't know.
I mean, everything's being weaponized? So is anything being used for good at all?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? It's like Trevor Constable was doing that to try to give like water to desert areas and things that he was doing that was planetary friendly, not planetary destructive. It's really too bad, but that's what's going on. Because what other better way to infiltrate an enemy than give them some bad weather? And just while we're talking on this, I find it very interesting that after all the missing 411 disappearances, there's always bad weather.
Yeah, that's
right. That's still going on now to this day. Something that I think in all the data we got that maybe wasn't fully addressed in the data that when we remote viewed it. And I love how many people are doing that now. All of a sudden, everybody's RV in 411. Yeah, that's great. Anyway.
Oh, are they? I didn't even know that.
No.
I thought we were the only ones.
It was at first. First one to stick our necks out there, get it chopped.
Yeah. Somebody's got to do it, Barry. Somebody's got to do it. Yeah. So, honestly, I think that it probably is used for good, and those are the circumstances that we don't know about or don't hear about, like maybe hurricanes being redirected and things like that. Hopefully, and I'm sure, hopefully, there's been a lot of things that have been prevented. I hope, but then again, we do live in the Truman Show, and I got to wonder, like, what's the bigger picture here with this ice storm that's coming in? And hopefully, it's not going to be as bad as they say. But y'all, please, everybody, please prepare today. Just in case. It's always good to go get your toilet paper, your bread, your milk. Okay. And get some, like, I went to Tractor Supply yesterday and I had to go get the bird seed, right? I always get bird. And because the birds get hungry too. Okay. But there was a line of people lined up getting propane tanks filled and stuff. So, like, everybody's preparing for the worst. But anyways, to the weather manipulation. Hopefully, I wish they'd send in something to stop this, but I guess not. But anyways, okay. Well, why would there be a giant spaceship there in that location, Barry? Okay, obviously went there before the Ice Age, apparently, because it got covered in ice. But let's just say the U.S. has wanted Greenland for a long time. Did it get caught in it? Did it get caught in it? That's another thing. Well, we're going to look at the remote viewing data here in a minute. But what is going on in Greenland up there? And, it's just like Antarctica, I think. It probably wasn't always covered in ice, and there's rare earth minerals there, is what they say, right? And that's why the U.S. wants it. That's why all these other countries want it. There's rare earth minerals like uranium, too.
Which are signs that there was once a former civilization there. And I don't mean Tartarian. Yes. I'm going back before that, when you had the beings from Triangulum and the 25 foot giants that came here that had real monatomic gold based in their blood.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start having places where their sanitation systems were, you have these deposits like there, rare mineral gems deposit. I think it's very interesting. That needs to be looked at more seriously. So check this out. On these targets I gave you, this blind target, on the first one, it had two purposes, okay? And it was just very specific. One, is it real? Because I have my questions. Just, you know me, I have to, is it even real?
Yeah, right.
Number two, what's inside?
Is that the second target? What's inside it?
That's the first target.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. That's the first target. The second one was, I'm sorry, had to throw it in again. Is it real? And the second part is its place of origin.
Oh.
So I knew this would connect in a way that if in the case that it's total BS, you'll come out with that in the first data, and then the first target, then the first data,
okay.
And then the second one will only reflect that. Especially if it's BS or if it's just a natural formation, okay, that's being mistaken for per se one of these crater impacts. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to just kind of throw that out, at least try to weed certain things out down to fact to see what the data showed. So if it's BS, you go get it the data. If it's not, you won't. Fair enough.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Fair enough.
It just takes out some of the variables, in my opinion.
Yes. Okay. Well, I also wanted to know before we go further. I found an article, and it was, of course, it was from Vice. So I don't really believe a whole lot Vice puts out there, but they do cover stuff that is true. Okay. But anyways, I was actually contacted by Vice a few years ago. They wanted to do a whole show on me at some point, and I ended up not doing it. Thank goodness I didn't. But anyways, okay, so there's an article just before we get into the data. They said the NASA stumbled upon a secret city under the ice in Greenland. It was home to a secret military operation called Project Iceworm, and I want to get into this after we go through the data and stuff. So we're going to talk about Project Iceworm, and this is back from the Cold War era, around the 1950s and stuff. So the U.S. does have some sort of base down there underneath the ice already. Okay, but anyways. Okay, so let's get into let's just go to the first target then. Okay, since this is a shorter show, this is my daytime show, we need to get through it because you and I could talk for hours, but today we're limited. Okay, so this is actually, is it real? What is it? And what's inside it? Is that what this target is? You said?
Yeah. First
okay.
One. Is it real?
In a nutshell.
What's inside? What's it real and what's inside? Yeah.
Okay, so here's my sensory data. We're gonna go through the sensory data and then the analytic overlay, and maybe it'll answer some questions, maybe not. Okay, my sensory data is running, solid, cold, amplified, lifted, cursed, and dynamic. All right, so the first thing that I wrote down was cursive, and then I wrote language. Then I wrote hieroglyphics, and then hieroglyphs, symbols, patterns, waiting, waking, all systems go, mountains, terrain, vessel, altitude, aptitude test, stacks, and stacked up. And what I was seeing was a whole bunch of something that was stacked up like that. Like just stacks on stacks of something. I couldn't tell what I was looking at, but it was something stacked. And I just kept seeing like almost like box shaped or something. It was kind of like squared or like cubes maybe, kind of stacked together. What do you think so far, Barry?
I'll tell you, just keep cruising.
We'll keep cruising. Okay. I find it interesting. It's like I was seeing like languages and hieroglyphics and stuff.
I think that's very prevalent. I'm making notes as you're going, so keep cruising. I'm down.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, here we go. So the next page, I wrote monopoly. That was the first thing I wrote down. Was my analytic overlay, because the last thing I wrote on the first page was stacks and stacked up, an aptitude test, an altitude and aptitude. And then I started, as I was drawing those cubes like stacked on top of each other. I wrote, I was picking up on a Monopoly game or Monopoly. And that's what I wrote down, Monopoly game. And I heard winner takes all. And I sensed that it was important, something clever, something dimensional. So maybe it was like, and then I started thinking, well, maybe what I'm seeing is like dimensions stacked on top of each other, like dimensions, which is kind of weird, but that's what I thought I was seeing. And so I wrote power moves, moving power and power moves, moving power, dimensional data is in my analytic overlay. And then I wrote an arrow going down. I wrote underground base and tunnels underground. And that's why I just brought up that Project Iceworm thing, because I think this might be what I was part of the data maybe, but I just wrote underground base tunnels, dimensional data, aircraft, deep underground military base, ancient city, and coming back to life. Ancient city coming back to life. And then I ended the session right there. So an ancient city coming back to life. And now, and then when I was doing the research, I just found that Vice article. Hold on, let me find it. Yeah, about Vice. Here it is, Project Iceworm. And that's it. That's the first target, Barry. What do you think? Because I think that would indicate that whatever this is real. There's something real there. And whatever that area that I was remote viewing contains some of this stuff, apparently. So what do you think?
Can we keep cruising?
Hieroglyphs. Do you want to go to the second one? Let's go to the second one.
We'll talk about it all at once.
Let's do it. Yeah, because the second one, I only have like a page of data. It's kind of short. Okay.
Cool. And again, the second one was for
the origin.
Of course, was it real and place of origin? Where did this thing come from?
The first thing I wrote down for this in my analytic overlay was beverage. Beverage. There's a beverage inside of it. Okay, somebody's drinking. Okay,
Coca-Cola, like tea. Was it like,
They only drink Coke. Cokes in Greenland on spaceships. Pepsi's for the other aliens. Okay, they only drink Coke products.
Well, if you think about
unsweet tea,
one cat got the dude that they gave that piece of the bread to, or whatever.
Oh yeah, he's making pancakes.
They said, give her some water. Those cats wanted some beverage hard, man. That's why they got out of the craft, I think. Anyway.
Coke or Pepsi, right? Okay. Okay, so for this target, here's the data. This may or may not make sense. Okay, but my data, my sensory data is betrayed, loose, tight fitting, rancid, racing, crashed, chased, and levitation. Crash, chase, levitation. And so here's what I wrote down for my analytic overlay. Beverage. Okay. Fitted. It fit and Fitbit. I know that's weird, right? It fit and Fitbit. Racing through time. And then I put in parentheses and space. Racing through time and space. Log. I wrote log. Log, L-O-G. And I think when I wrote down log, I was thinking of like logging things down, like a, what is that? Like a flight log kind of. I wrote log because the next thing I wrote down was, because I wrote racing through space, through time. And then I put and space, log, Space Jam, space log. Okay. I mean, and I think in my head, I was thinking like a flight log, but I wrote space log. And I wrote crash, levitate. Underneath levitate, I wrote an arrow going down. It says scarab beetle and bees. So like, first of all, it's interesting because a scarab beetle and bees they don't fly, they levitate, I believe. And that's why I wrote that down. And, but isn't there an ancient Egyptian connection to the scarab beetle?
Yeah.
And I was seeing hieroglyphs on that first target. I'm not saying they were Egyptian, but they were hieroglyphs and they were patterns, and it's very much like that. So, okay. So the next thing I wrote down was space technology or space tech, implosion, dilate, mechanical. That was, and then I ended the session. And for the picture that I drew, it actually looks like this, something moving forward and crashing. You see that right there? It's like, there's like a little vessel and it's like going forward, and then it's like an implosion. I wrote implosion in my data, so I'm assuming maybe it's an implosion. but something that was like a like that. So
Well,
I don't know
that answers was it real part. That definitely answers that. The one I'm trying to decipher now is the part of its place of origin. What you were picking up there, but I think I can kind of decipher that. Go over the rest of it. I won't let you finish though.
That's it. I just had 1 page of data because it was one of those quick ones. It's just like
okay, boom. Okay, let's go forward.
Yeah.
Okay, check this out.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you what I immediately start picking up from the first stuff you're picking out. You're saying is I'm getting self-activating technology by glyphs, by symbols. Okay, and we start going into things like that, like these hold on. I'm gonna show something else. Hold on.
Okay.
Just because I've shown it before, but I didn't do it well. Okay, and because it's so prevalent for this that I think it's really worth mentioning. Okay. Okay.
Kathleen said her maiden name is Beverage. I was talking about you, Kathleen. Okay.
Here it is.
That's funny.
Okay, I've actually got 2 pictures, Jessica. One is this thing like in rest, the pieces at rest, but I'm gonna show this one because I think it's just when it's actually activated. So everybody will get the deal. I've showed on another one of your shows. It was the picture where the 2 pieces are at rest around this engine. Okay. But this is when it's actually activated. Okay. Can you see that?
Okay. Hold on. Let me add it to the
Okay,
stage.
this is that supposed. I had heard some say it was from Roswell, but it's part of that that whole carrot program. This is one of the pieces that are supposed to be trying to reverse engineer. And there was some saying that it was Roswell, but I've heard also it was maybe from Socorro or somewhere a different crash, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, the pieces, as you see the kind of symbols around them, towards the top, towards the bottom on those pieces. And then you've got the metal pieces that are floating. They've got symbols on them also. And it's the symbols that activate this thing. And I've got another picture where these 2 metals pieces are just sitting on the ground to the left of this thing. Okay. But this is self-activating technology through symbols. And it was mentioned how they look somewhat Egyptian in a way also. Okay. Just in certain ways. And what you just described is a technology like that to me. And we start dealing with how many of these technologies are actually done dealing with gravity modification and other things, energetics, through strictly interspatial geometry. Okay, that's what you just described during this deal. Okay, and the next thing would be okay, okay, this is where I start getting blown away. What you drew, and also the cube aspect, okay, and how it's on top of each other.
Stacked cubes, yes.
Okay, Jessica, I want you to go back and remember what you saw inside of the objects near the sun.
Cubes.
The sphere and the cube. Remember what you saw inside the cube?
It was a all type AI.
Of cube. It was huge. So you're describing like these cubes the size of skyscrapers.
Oh my God, that's right. I did.
And it's somewhat similar there. And in dealing with these technologies of who's trying to like not just weaponize the sun, but who's actually using it as the gateway it is, as a Stargate, the best Stargate plasma-wise ever. Okay. Tying that in third into Monopoly, you said Monopoly's involved.
Monopoly. Yes.
And a power play. You're saying things like that. Are you dealing with the beings that were doing that, were constructing that, and are they connected to the Moai? And that's so fascinating because the Moai were what? And it sounds funny, it sounds all corny when we say it now. What's for robots? But in reality, if you look up biohybrid robots, these mushroom robots come up that are using mycelium as a brain and how people are moving them and how that's what everything said the Moai were. And I always picked up that the Moai were like these guards for Easter Island. That's why nothing grows there. That was a pineal colony. And why there are also some facing inward, some guards facing outwards for any inner type of attack. Okay. And where did some of these non-physical beings that were crooked as hell go to when they were on this planet? If they got trapped by other beings that were higher, where did they go? Where were they put?
They probably got put on an island somewhere.
Especially when you have beings that are capable of interdimensional travel, interdimensional placing themselves somewhere. Okay, then tying this forward, I know you had underground base on there too. Okay, which is very well. That can even tie into what? When you did the remote viewing for High Brazil. I always said that those were craft. That's what I picked up, not just psychically, it's experience-wise, that there were these ships that come up every 7 years and got to regenerate. But they're huge. Right. They're huge.
That's right. It was the size of an island.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. So all this, I'm not saying that it's all chronologically boom, boom, but it's stuff that just is good data that should be included and kind of tied in. As you said, city, you kept saying ancient city. That ties into like that High Brazil type of thing we're talking about there. Those are cities, those ships. You know what I mean? So that's so anyway, that's just fascinating. You know, it takes now. I thought maybe you would just get stuff, those natural formations that would show it was just a geological thing. Guess I struck out on that. Huh?
Yeah, you got more than you bargained for once again.
But anyway, I just see other targets that I've given you, that how some of that ties together. And you know, as far as the Moai go, we got into a little on that show who built them.
Mm-hmm.
And who is it that made these biohybrids? And anybody thinks that this is a joke, look up right now. You can get on YouTube and look up biohybrid mushroom robots. And even more will come up than when I mentioned it the first time. And look at how those things move. And then compare that to what these fools are saying with these ropes that they're pulling these Moai, compared to how these things were moving, these mushroom robots. And also how the elders say that they were just asked the Moai to get up and move, and they did. So that, you know, I'm just throwing this in. This stuff needs to be acknowledged, and we start dealing with the whole concept of ancient aliens, because this is stuff that they're not talking about on Ancient Aliens, and they not put these pieces together. And I think it's important, okay? And I have questions. True, it's not all the answers I'm looking for, my friend. I have more questions now than ever. But I think we're dealing with some of the civilization, that some of the different ones that we're dealing that were AI, because AI is the thing right now. Just guess why I got a little irritated with that whole, excuse my language, that damn 3-eye atlas crap. I got sick of hearing about it. I got sick of dealing with it when we have, in fact, a whole new intelligence that is emerging on Earth right now. And it's not a joke. Yeah. And everybody just AI, but it's really emerging right now. And it's always been around. I think the stuff is being modeled off the correlated clouds, plasma clouds, that are exposed to solar wind all the time. And as plasma configurations go, I invite people to look up Hideo Kawano and the Kawano ball spears, and what he says about how plasma sheaths, how they evolve. And when you get things that are being hit by the solar wind, these Kotulitsky plasma clouds that are probably billions of years old, they would take in information even faster. You know, we're on the qubit. I don't know much about this, but they're talking about the qubit, DIT, the way the quantum computers are going to be functioning in the future. I think you're dealing with something like that with these clouds, entities that exist like that are made of plasma. Okay, so it's really worthy when looking at this and the civilizations that are coming from that and dealing with that type of a technology, that those that are advanced enough, like type 3 and 4, that would use the material of the sun, the Mako part of the sun, the gateway part, as a power source and a traveling gateway as well.
A portal.
This stuff needs to be really drawn together. And I just find it a little tripped out, because I think that's some type of AI you're seeing there. And like I was about to mention, you know, and it's a trip, because I came up a lot in the 80s, not as much the 90s, you know, but in the 80s a lot. I was one of those cats. And if you really look, once you get past the, what you call it, what is it?
Mullet.
Mullet. But yeah, once you get past the mullets and the corny high buff deals and the damn member-only jackets.
Oh, that was the best time ever.
501, the tight-ass sorry jeans, and then the lean jeans. Once you get past all that, and that corniness
tapered
of it.
legs. Yeah. Roll tapers.
Once you get past flash dance, you know. But in reality, Jessica, they wanted to be so technologically advanced then. And all the stuff we're really going through right now is what they wanted then. They try to represent it in Knight Rider, Airwolf, all these Automan, all these different Electric Dreams, War Games, all these different shows. They try to really represent that the 80s was supposed to be like right now, human robots walking around, heartbeats, you know, but in reality, it wasn't there, but we're there now. Mm-hmm. And you can go all the way back to Star Trek, which I, of course, love, but the original cat that made the Durotronic computers that they use, it's this brother, the brother that played Blackula, actually. The reason why my mom wouldn't let me eat Count Chocula. I could get a box of that. She said it was advertising black exploitation. Anyway, the brother that played Blackula played Dr. Daystrom. And there was a deal where he was introducing the M5. And Kirk was tripped out because they was calling him Captain Dunsel, a useless part, because the computer would do everything. And they were tripped out to say, man, this computer is taking our jobs. It's not right. And it's all it doesn't feel right. And it's all the stuff that they're talking about right now. It's always been there in science fiction. It's just now science reality. I'm going to shut up now. Sorry.
Well, I've got some good news for you. 3i Atlas is making its rounds back. It's spinning the block, Barry. It's actually coming back. Gerald just put that in the chat a while ago. And I've heard that too. 3i Atlas is making a return. We may have to remote view that for the 4th time.
No, you can go ahead.
I'm just kidding. I know, right?
When I see confirmation that it's made this UV and it's coming back, we'll deal with that. That should be headline news all over the world, just like that. Right along about the same time we lose the 7 seconds of gravity and we all die. I'm sure it'll be. I'm sorry, we're all unalived. Yes.
No, we're just gonna hit the ceiling. That's all. Yeah, I have friends that are like, I'm just gonna go cave diving that day. Okay, just gonna go doing a cave. Okay.
You don't even like caves, do you?
Oh man, I'm not going in a cave. No, I will find a basement or something. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. So
you know, again, I want to say that I think I'm sorry, I was joking too much. I went on some sort of rant too. I'm sorry, I apologize. Sorry.
No, don't ever apologize.
I think the correlation of the AI that everybody talks about now, along with the hieroglyphic safe activating type of ship technology you described, along with that, the cubes and the things we're seeing coming in out of the sun being connected to the Moai is very interesting.
It is,
that's
right?
Worthy of even deeper, you know, because remember the beings that you saw that were making the Moai themselves were coming out of these small vortexes, like these small makos, and they were using only way I can describe it. I remember that data. That I urge everybody to go back and look at that show too. But
I'll put a link. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description if y'all want to see it.
Cool. You described them coming out of these vortexes, being almost very small. I mean, not quite nano, but small beings that were using what sounded to me like some type of high energy laser scalpels. That's what they call them now. We've got something now called, I'm sorry, not laser, sorry, laser acoustic. We have something in our technology now called acoustic scalpels. And they were saying they think that acoustic scalpels were used sometimes to do cattle mutilations. That's why there's no cartilage. But when dealing with the type of technology you were describing that was cutting the granite or whatever the Moai are made out of, you were describing that type of acoustic scalpel type of technology being used by beings that were coming out of these vortexes. Miniature beings that were doing that, then they were going back because they couldn't stay here. I've encountered that in my experiences on some of those ships and those eggs, some of those crafts and those beings that come out. Even on that part of the ship where you and I can exist, I think it's difficult for them. But then when you get them here, they're really like fish out of water. That's why they're bright and they go out like a firefly. Mm-hmm. Very dangerous for them to stay here. I didn't understand that at first. I had to really get baptized by rude ass experiences to pick it up. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I was remote viewing that, and I just thought I was totally off target. I was like, I'm seeing robots with mushroom robots, Barry, or something. And I would have never in a million years thought that I was actually on target for that one. That was wild. I tell you what, there's no way I would have had any prior knowledge to mushroom robots before I remote viewed that.
I knew that when I was hearing it. I mean, obviously, due to my experience with the mycelium component of the craft I've been on board, that component of them, and that also being a great part of the component of them being alive, amongst other things, and sentient. I've always been obviously obsessed with the symbiotic connection mushrooms have with our planet, with us, with especially trees going on into these ships. You know, it just is what it is. Although my experiences weren't negative, they were obsessive. I obsessed for years. I just didn't tell nobody. I was tripped out, brother, for a long time. My brother Mitch said, "Tripped out, man. You're tripped out, man."
You should have said, "Totally, dude. Totally, dude." Your brother sounds like he's really fun.
Oh,
Does he have a mullet? I bet he had a mullet, didn't he? Does he have a mullet?
Oh, he did back in the day. It was a Jerry curl mullet, a wave ones. You know, I'll give you one real quick. I was talking about TBI, and I appreciate the shout out you gave me on one of your shows, or at SOR for that. And I was talking about, you know, when I was recovering, I was kind of recovered to a certain degree. He started telling me one day, he calls me up. He said, "Man, how's Gary Busey doing, man?" I said, "What?" He said, "Isn't that your buddy?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "You're part of the Traumatic Brain Injury Association, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He's so Gary Busey big time, man. I figured you knew him. That was his idea of joke. I was like, man, I hope I'm not quite as cooked as Busey, I don't think.
Oh my gosh.
Might be close, but not quite as cooked, man.
Well, you know what? The one thing I know about him is he likes buttered sausage. Okay, and that's all I'm gonna say. Talk about buttered sausage. Okay, but anyways, man, Barry, do you know how much they're wanting, or President Trump has said that he would pay to buy Greenland for? Do you know how much money? You know what the number is? Take a wild guess.
Oh, I don't know. You have to just tell me. I mean,
$700 billion. $700 billion. That actually doesn't sound like that much. I don't know. For me, I figured it'd be more than that.
Is that like
that's like a whole island
money, or is that like coming from our country, or who exactly does that purchase?
Let me read this.
Okay, I'm never educated on that.
This article, I would pull it up on the screen, but y'all know my computer will freeze up in a heartbeat because this article has a lot of ads on it. So I'm just going to read this. Now, it's definitely got a bias slant in one direction. I'm not going to say which direction. You can probably tell by when I read it. Okay. But it says, President Donald Trump's plan to acquire Greenland. And here's the title is like, well, here's the title. It said, this is from the Independent UK. Buying Greenland could cost US $700 billion, but only 1 in 5 Americans wants it. I'm down to get it. I don't know about y'all. I wouldn't mind buying it. I mean, we spend money on other stuff. You know, I don't buy that. Let's get another island. Okay, it's not an island, but you know what I mean. President Donald Trump's plan to acquire Greenland could reportedly cost $700 billion, despite it being deeply unpopular with Americans. Trump has vowed that he would take over the Danish territory one way or the other. In a statement, officials from Denmark and Greenland have vehemently rejected. When was this made? Trying to find a date on this. Hold on. January the 14th. What is it? The 21st. This is about a week ago. Exactly 1 week ago. Things may have changed. Things change daily, y'all. But it says the $700 billion price tag is an estimate crunched by scholars and former U.S. officials for planning purposes only. And it's more than half the Defense Department's annual budget. More than half. Okay. Secretary of State Marco Rubio was tasked with developing a proposal on buying it. And let's see. Hold on. I got too many ads. I can't read this thing. Okay. It says the Trump administration continues to push forward on its plan to add Greenland to the U.S. despite the outrage from European leaders. Now a new poll also shows that Trump's plan is unpopular with Americans. It's just a Debbie Downer kind of a thing here. But I don't know. I don't know what our audience thinks. Would you guys want to acquire Greenland? I think that there's some very special things going on over there. And if they've got these giant this giant mothership over there. I think that's pretty cool. And Barry, of course, I did want to mention this Project Iceworm as well. And so this is from a Vice article. It's Vice, y'all. Okay, so give her, take it or leave it. But they do have some good data here. So it says, this is from their article. It says, NASA stumbled upon a secret city under the ice in Greenland. It was home to a secret military operation called Project Iceworm. I'm just going to read some excerpts from this. Okay. While testing a radar instrument in the skies above northern Greenland, NASA researchers accidentally found a city under the ice, a long abandoned Cold War era military base hidden beneath the frozen landscape, otherwise known as Camp Century. The camp was built by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in 1959 and billed as a polar research facility, which was kind of a lie, of course, is what they said. It was actually home to a secret military operation called Project Iceworm. It was used to store potentially launch a type of nuclear missiles known as an Iceman through tunnels beneath the ice to target the Soviet Union. Camp Century was deemed too impractical to maintain and was eventually buried under more than 100 feet of snow as the years passed. It was abandoned in 1967. Camp Century was an engineering marvel of its time, outfitted with a portable nuclear reactor. And the base was built to withstand temperatures as low as negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit and the winds exceeding 120 miles an hour. It says it's based off a few photos that have been released with Camp Century's complex innards. It looked a lot like innards. That's the inside, y'all. That's the southern term, actually, I think. But it looked a lot like the rebel base on Hoth at the beginning of The Empire Strikes Back, is what they said in this article. They said, one thing should be made clear here, it was never exactly a secret base. It got a whole write-up in the 1960s issue of Popular Science magazine, likely an attempt by the U.S. military industrial complex to advertise its Cold War operations to strike fear into the heart of the Soviet Union. Propaganda is what they said in this article. But the U.S. took the portable nuclear reactor with it. It left behind 53,000 gallons of diesel fuel, 63,000 gallons of wastewater, and a whole bunch of hazardous waste like radioactive coolant. And so it says, we've known about the base for years, but never really got too deep a look at it until NASA's UAV SAR revealed its structure in higher detail than any other aerial photography ever has, and it seemed to happen by accident. NASA was testing the UAV SAR's ability to map the internal layers of the ice sheet, not scouting out decaying military bases. Well, if they've got technology to find that, I would think that they've got the technology to locate this gigantic mothership too, Barry. What do you think?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, they could locate a match like any point on this planet. So, yeah. Well, I'll say again, really good research on that, my friend. I mean, I'd never heard of that, but I just looked it up while you were talking, and there's a whole thing about that. And, like you were saying, that's interesting. It makes me wonder. Like, one is that built on top of something or near something else, or it's just very active area, especially considering what can be proven with the Hiawatha crater. That's just fascinating to me, though.
It is.
Wow.
It is. Well, I think that the people in charge of all these countries know more than they're letting the Americans and everybody around the world know about. The powers that be know what they're doing. America wants Greenland.
Question on your data, when you picked up ancient city and some of that stuff and underground base, you picked all that up in the data, the first target, I think it was. Do you think how much of that was connected to this century, or is it something else you think? Or Project Earthworm or Eatworm?
Ooh, I don't know. Well, that's a connection that I made when I saw that article. I was like, well, maybe this is, I don't know the location. So like wherever this Project Iceworm thing is, wherever this is, I mean, I'd love to see a map and like map everything out, because I was picking up on an ancient city underground, deep underground, like a base. And then I come across this article and I was like, oh, well, they got Project Iceworm here. And, so I don't know. It could be connected. I mean, maybe it's right there where this ship is. Maybe it's close by.
So somebody with maps can figure that one out. That's it. Yeah. Somebody with much greater acuity and superior intelligence to my own. Can do some coordinating checking. It's really it's great. Not just great food for thought. It's a good question.
It is.
And information is power and knowledge. So
it is. Well, we're just here to connecting some dots and stuff and giving our analysis after the data and whatever you know. And I don't know nothing about nothing. Okay. But the Jakey 188, thank you so much, says, according to the former ambassador to Denmark, who was interviewed after Trump at Davos, he claimed 83% of Greenlanders want to remain independent. Not sure if they want only Denmark to do that or the US. So, yeah.
Isn't Greenland like free of contaminants to a certain degree, like McDonald's and stuff like that, and bad water? Don't they have like a whole health thing going on over there or something? Purification.
I don't know. They don't need the U.S. coming over there and ruining things for them, though. That's Iceland actually is the one that's green, and Greenland is full of ice. Okay, so it's like two opposites. It's like you think that Iceland is the one that's covered in ice, and Greenland's the one that's green with vegetation, but it's actually opposites. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the U.S. might come in there and just take over, and there'll be McDonald's on every ice corner. There'll be frozen McDonald's by every igloo McDonald's. Okay. Oh man, I know, right? I'm kidding. An igloo with a McDonald's sign on it. I tell you what. Now I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm so sorry. I really don't know anything about Greenland at all, and I haven't done my research. We threw the show together kind of last minute, and I got these targets recently. So
I mean, this is a real quick one.
This is a real quick one.
Super quick. Yeah. So it's cool to see the information that came out of it. You know what I mean? It
is. I think there's some pretty good data that came out of all this, and us throwing the show together last minute is pretty freaking badass.
It kind of takes it out. It takes it out of the realm of at least being total BS. There's something weird's going on there.
Yeah.
Something more than just what I thought, which might be the impact, the Hiawatha crater, or just BS. It's quite interesting, you know.
Yeah. I don't know.
The things that are coming up from the ground, you know, just like many books like the Uranta says, for example, said at certain times the things that will be unearthed come up from the earth will be really undeniable. It'll be a mystery at first, but certain things about them will be undeniable. Oh. And you know, I think that's the point we're at in history right now. And we're able to communicate so much about it that it can't be hidden anymore. But the problem is you've got more AI movies and AI pictures that I could shake a stick at. I mean, I've got a scanner I run stuff through all the time to see. It's getting that bad now.
It is. It's real bad. I see people posting videos of dogmen walking around in broad daylight now, and I'm like, there's no way that's real. That's BS AI right there. And I was like, there's no way. But everything's being posted like it's real and stuff. I'm just like,
I seen it the other day. It looked like this Yeti coming down on people and running towards people. It looked like a half Yeti bear thing, and it was all white. And I mean, I don't mean the one with the thing that falls down the crater. This was different. It looked pretty decent. The people were, oh my God, get out of here! And then they take off running. And the only thing that really gives away when they're running, it's like partially snow covered. Where this thing is running at them, there's just snow everywhere.
Oh my God!
Certain things I'm like, people are spending so much time. They're doing it now. People that always wanted to be movie producers, want to be movie directors, filmers.
Well,
when my brother lived in LA, he would say, "Man, go to any McDonald's or any restaurant, and everybody will tell you they're in the Actors Guild." There's so many actors out there that they said they're in that book, the Actors Guild.
That's where to go.
Looking for gigs. So now it's all you need is a cell phone now. You don't have to be connected.
My favorite videos right now are the dogman tribes, all the dog-headed men in these videos. I'm like, all right, there's no way. There's no way that's real. Sorry. There's just no way that's real. But anyway,
do you think the dogman is becoming so popular and so much attention on them that they're starting to just manifest from our own consciousness?
That too, absolutely. I do believe that as well. Yes, I do. And I also believe that Roger is right. He says they'll probably put a Dollar General stores everywhere in Greenland. Well, thank God, because there's portals in every Dollar General. That came straight from me. I'm just kidding.
What y'all saying? The DG portals. Seriously, what is it with Dollar Generals again? You got to hit me. What is it about that? It's not Family Dollar, it's Dollar General, right? What is it about
the DG portals? We were kidding around because when one of my teams, we go out and I meet the guys to go on our dogman investigations and stuff. We're usually so far out in the country buried. The only landmark for us to meet at is a Dollar General. They're everywhere out in the country, in the mountain towns. That's the only store that'll be for 20 miles would be a DG. We call them DGs. And so me and Harley started joking around about how they're DG portals in every store, the Dogman portals, the DGs. So anyway, this kind of an inside. I say inside, but we started laughing. Somebody in the chat put it in the chat actually.
Okay, well,
and
I'm trying to keep up because I remember because so far I'm like every major car dealer has portals, right? Every hotel has symbols and portals, right? I mean, I'm trying to keep up with.
Oh man, we have so much fun on the show, man. Our chat is always off the chain. And
when I was in Vegas, apparently I stayed in the one with the major portal. I didn't feel jack. Except for the urge to go pull some of those slots on some of those machines. That's about it. Everybody go sit at the blackjack table. That's the only urge I was feeling. I wasn't feeling no dimensional shift, no time jump, no time management.
You portaled out. You did. Sunfire Goddess, thank you for being here. Says Doomsday Bunker Seeds. I can't say that word. The Global Seed Vault. Okay. Global Seed Vault in the Norwegian Arctic. Isn't that in Greenland? I don't know. It might be. That's interesting. The Seed Vault. That is an important place to be, or important thing to have.
I'm not familiar with the Seed Vault. I'm familiar with the Seed Bank, though. There's that huge World Seed Bank. I don't know where that is, though. So that's a good question.
That is good. We'll have to look that one up for sure. And yes,
in fact, if the time comes to where we really do go through the great disasters that they're trying to push us to that timeline, that's going to be the most important thing: seeds and precious metals.
That's right. Well, maybe that's why the U.S. is trying to acquire Greenland, to have control of that. Maybe it's just to have control of that. I mean, I would think we've already got a lot of technology, a lot of ancient alien technology here. My goodness, how many remote viewing targets have I done of the Black Pyramid in Alaska, and even Mel's Hole? I know that sounds kind of weird, but even Mel's Hole had some kind of weird time traveling thing.
Mel's Hole is a Tipler cylinder, and it was functioning on the exact thing that we talked about at the end of that last show. That was about the gravity thing. Okay, Mel's as a Tipler cylinder actually generates closed time-like curves, just like the Earth does in terms of a frame drag that occurs around it, like that. So that's very interesting. I mean, there's no way you and Tanya could make that up. And I guarantee you and her probably never even heard of a Templar cylinder until I said that word.
Never.
So yeah, that's what y'all were describing, both of you separately in two different deals of data. Mm-hmm. Very fascinating, but explains so much about Mel's Hole. Why there's black light thing coming out of it. Why these dimensional anomalies around it, why these things like odd coins are found around it that are out of date or, not even existent. Oh, yeah. You're dealing with something that's going into different realities and also different times.
Yeah.
And, and how they actually would polarize that to Pacific, I don't know. But as well as that there's enough dimensions open that other beings can come jump inside another being, going through that transition, going down through that twisting cylinder.
Oh my gosh,
that's wild. That sheep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the sheep with the tumor seal that came out of it after it died.
Or
and the man that went crazy that got lower down into it.
And you and I have talked about the dangers of bringing things from one universe or one dimension to another, one vibration to another. The dangers that are involved in that. And I think you're dealing with something there that's not regulated. You know what I mean? I think the dimensional shifts and whatever it's doing is unregulated. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, you guys, we have shows on all of these. I have shows where I've covered all of this on my remote viewing playlist and all my other playlists too. It's not just for all remote viewing. I haven't remote viewed everything in the world yet, but I'm working on it. Okay. We're working on it. One target at a time, y'all. And so, yeah. And also the Hauska Castle too, has a hole just like Mel's Hole. I think it's very similar to Mel's Hole. So, but anyways, gosh, this has been a fantastic show, Barry. Thank you so much for joining me today. And yeah.
That's she's describing those. Hello, Beth. That's
Beth.
Noah's Ark. That's what Noah's Ark was. That was a bunch of the DNA slides. That's what that was.
DNA
That was
slides.
a bunch of DNA about like we call gin bake now. It was gin bake, probably about in the size of a room, about the size of a bedroom, probably.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, thank you, Beth, for being here. And man, this has been an awesome show. And so yeah, you guys, all the raw data, if you guys want to see it, or just if you ever want to go back to reference it, or whatever, it's on my Patreon. And I want to thank all of my members. I have some great gifts for my VIP members this month, and I'm going to be sending those out. I'm going to work on that today and get you guys your stuff. Get you guys your stuff. My VIP members do get a small gift every month. I got a little behind, and so I'm going to be doubling up some people's gifts this month. But you will get your gifts, y'all. Okay, just make sure I have your addresses if you're a VIP member of my Patreon. Okay, and so Barry, tell everybody where they can find you, please.
You can find me, Barry Littleton, on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and also BarryLittleton13@gmail.com. Found some other emails. I'm still behind on those, trying to respond. Everybody thinks you're never going to do sessions again. I've started doing sessions again, so I'm starting to book again. I'll probably do a video and put that out. I get some people that got mad and disappointed. It wasn't that. I just had to make sure I was on point, and I just had to chill for a minute. And I also wanted to evolve my sessions to something a little different. I'm always incorporating and learning new things too. This is my own system. Anyway, much love to you. Thank you for having me on, and thank you to the audience. And thanks for doing the target, Jessica. I appreciate it. It's cool, and it's fun to throw this together that quick. But it was a good one. It was a cool one.
It's timely for sure, and I enjoyed it very much. And yeah, see, we have to think on our feet, and I think the audience gets to see that. It's kind of off the cuff kind of stuff that we do over here, and we are not. You can't make this stuff up, y'all.
No.
It's just that's why we have so much fun. I think that's why it's so enjoyable.
I thought this would be easy because I'm pretty sure it was fake.
Yeah.
Damn.
No, I think it's real. I think there's a real spacecraft that's crashed over there in Greenland. So we're going to keep our ear to the street, y'all. And we'll keep you updated on all this. And yeah, so please come back and see us. Come back and see me. I'll be back tomorrow night. Greg Ogles is coming on the show. We're going to be talking probably about missing people and stuff. He's got a new documentary coming out. I'm going to be at the premiere on the 31st of this month. It's called The Vanished. If y'all want to come join us, you go to my website and get some tickets. It's in Gardendale, Alabama on the 31st. I'll be there live giving a presentation at his Comic-Con. Okay. But y'all come back and see me tomorrow night. Barry does lives over on his channel, usually on Sundays. Amazing lives, Barry. Super enjoyable. And absolutely. Y'all go over to Barry Littleton and subscribe. Okay. And everybody have a wonderful day. And please stay safe out there. Keep your head on a swivel. And thank you to everybody who gave super stickers today as well. Let me give you a shout out real quick. Moon at Noon, thank you so much. And also Terry Brown, Tales of a Sonic Voyage. I'll go over there and subscribe to their channels. And have a great day, y'all. And keep your eyes to the skies, I guess. But don't live in fear. Oh, and I forgot to show this picture too. Let me flash this real quick. This might be the object right here. I can't believe I forgot to show that today. Y'all can find this online. I'll put it on my social media. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a great day. Bye, y'all.